Hi, everyone. I'm Michael H. Cohen, founding attorney of the Cohen Healthcare Law Group. We help healthcare industry clients navigate healthcare and FDA legal issues so you can launch or scale and grow your health and wellness product or service. At a surface level, this is a story of professional development whose roots go deep into my childhood, the fact that I'm a healthcare lawyer. When I grew up, my mom was a doctor and a medical school professor specializing in endocrinology. She would come home with stories about medical cases that she'd solved, diagnoses she'd made, and patients she'd helped. She was also the recipient of numerous NIH grants, published some groundbreaking scientific articles and books on diabetes research, and she had book titles such as The Polyol Pathway. I remember when I was a kid, I would repeat some of the long words that I would hear at the dinner table, such as hydroxylysine. That's a really great one for a kid to use to impress his parents' guests. One time I accompanied my mom on rounds at the hospital. One of the procedures that I was witnessing, it might have just been a blood draw. It made me kind of faint. The nurses had to come and bring me orange juice to bring back my blood pressure. So it looked like I might not make it into medicine. But meanwhile, my dad was in finance and business. When I was a teen, he left a big corporate job for a startup that was aimed at providing products that would help Americans to get through what we used to call the energy crisis. And later, he left for Wall Street. We migrated to New York, and he reinvented himself as a risk arbitrageur. Well, when I was a kid, I used to study Talmud, so when it came time for graduate study, law seemed like a logical choice. We were always taught in my family to value social justice, and government seemed like a potentially fruitful path for me. I didn't end up running for Congress. What I do today really reflects the sum of my influences, but there's something equally deep that's drawn me too. So what does our law firm do? We provide legal strategies and solutions to businesses that accelerate health and wellness. Our mission statement since the 20th century says, we focus on health and wellness for the alleviation of suffering, the regeneration of spirit, and the endless unfolding of the human heart. I said spirituality. Our work cuts a really broader swath than just advising on some super narrow niche of healthcare and FDA law. We're fairly synergistic. For me, broadly stated and simply, I minister through legal advice, whether it's through me or from a firm. The why here, at the even deeper level, goes back to August 1997. I happened to be on summer staff at a meditation center in New York, and I was a passenger in a vehicle when a drunk driver in an oncoming car swerved into us and smashed us into the ditch. Next thing I knew, I was being hoisted on an ambulance, into an ambulance on a stretcher. Now, 3 days before that accident, I actually had a vision of meditation, and I saw my meditation teacher tearing her garment. It's this Jewish tradition of mourning that happens when a loved one dies. And I heard these words, that which has been known as Michael H. Cohen. And I was asked a really profound question by the divine, a distinctly cosmic voice that I heard resonating everywhere. It was, what is the purpose of your existence? Instinctively, still in meditation, my mind answered, service to God, service to the planet. And these words guided me for so many years that I put them on a placard and put it above my desk. My personal mantra, the reason that my life was spared was to come back and be of service. So I emerged from the accident with some minor soft tissue injuries. And, I came back in one piece, came back to meditation. I saw myself traveling through a tunnel of light and connecting with, various beings. And there were scrolls showing blueprints of my life, and old connections were being severed, and some other connections were being mended, and others restored and made. And so this was all, basically what was in my mind when I was trying to figure out what to do. And I've managed to somewhat integrate the near-death experience into my professional and personal life, but hasn't really been easy, and the process still goes on. Sometimes I've been torn between the precision and structure that's required for legal analytical thinking. And then there's, on the other hand, the archetype of the compassionate healer. So putting these two together has been my own puzzle. And I would say that one fruit, not the only fruit of this practice, has been the firm. You know, the people get drawn to the firm, the way we talk to each other, the way that we reflect, how we style our advice. And I see it all as elevating consciousness by walking a path of service through professional practice. It's been a pleasure sharing with you a little tidbit. It's also in my book, which is, I think the recent one is called Your Healthcare Legal Adventure, your company's excellent healthcare legal adventure. So we look forward to hearing from you, we look forward to talking to you, and we look forward to connecting with you soon.